Thank you for tuning in and welcome to the latest edition of Railbookers webinar series. I'm your host today, Gareth Jones, as it says there, Director of Product Development, and it is my absolute pleasure and honour to present to you the 2026 edition of Railbookers Around the World by Luxury Train. So, as many of you fans know, we've been doing this for the past 3 years. This is the latest iteration. We're talking about one departure next year, combining 4 continents, 9 different countries, over 60 days, starting on Wednesday, the 2nd of September. Key to this itinerary, of course, as well, are 8 of the world's best luxury trains. So, as the map said, we start in Canada with the Rocky Mountaineer in gold leaf service. Next, it's flying over to Scotland. For a journey on the Royal Scotsman, not in a twin cabin, but in a grand suite, perhaps the highest sort of level of onboard accommodation of any luxury train in the world. Next, down to London for a journey on the Britannic Explorer in a suite. Then it's fly down to Paris and Venice, sorry, and take the journey from Venice to Paris on the most famous train in the world, I would dare say, the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express, historic cabin. And then from Paris, take the long legendary journey from Paris to Istanbul, again on the Venice Express in a historic cabin. A deluxe cabin on the Maharajas Express, exploring Rajasthan and all the joys of India. Then down to South Africa for a journey on board Rovos Rail in a Pullman suite. And finally, over to Singapore for a journey again in a Pullman suite, the Eastern Oriental Express, round trip Singapore. So the itinerary itself, 33 nights in deluxe hotel accommodations, 22 nights spent aboard those 8 luxury trains we've looked at. Private accommodation, en suites for most of them, meals included, and excursions all included. Exclusive experiences on board all trains. Transfers throughout, private transfers, chauffeur style. Amazing day trips. So in Vancouver, trip out to Butchart Gardens, Victoria, Edinburgh, explore the castle, of course the Royal Mile with a private guide. Classic London black cab tour. Nobody knows London better than a cabbie, and having your own personal black cab taking you around London for 4 hours. You can personalise as well to tell us any particular kind of sites that you'd like to see. Make sure those are included in the itineraries. Churchill War Room's private tour in London, it's an amazing piece of sort of history. Of course, private tour of Istanbul, Victoria Falls, spending a couple of nights there as well. So, of course, a private tour of the falls themselves. One of the most spectacular forces of nature I've ever seen in my life. It really is a sight to behold. Sunset cruise on board the Zambezi River. Again, an unbelievable experience, sort of enjoying a cocktail or 2 along the Zambezi River while hippos wallow on the banks of the river next to you. Kruger Shalati. Now, we've got 3 nights included in this itinerary in Kruger National Park, and staying in Kruger National Park, the spectacular place called Kruger Shalati, which is effectively a converted train on a railway bridge, overlooks beautiful waterholes, so you get some absolutely spectacular vistas of the natural wonders of Kruger National Park from your own train cabin, converted into beautiful modern luxury suite with a whirlpool outside as well. And then on board the Eastern Oriental Express, Taman Negara and Penang excursions, they get simply VIP experiences. There's no other way to enjoy these experiences on the train. Stay at some of the world's finest hotel accommodations. Now, the Fairmont hotels in Vancouver, Banff, Jasper, Lake Louise. Amazing, historic stalwarts of the accommodation world. The Intercontinentals in Edinburgh and Singapore, particularly wonderful hotels. The Gritty Palace, one of my personal favourite hotels in Venice, Venetian 5-star palazzo. Sofitel Le Scribe in Paris, just around the corner from Opera. This hotel, incredible history. It's the first place in the world that moving image was ever shown to the public. First ever cinematic experience in the world ever shown at this hotel. The Four Seasons Hotel, the famous Gresham Palace in Budapest, and the Imperial in Delhi. It doesn't get any more empirical with this hotel in Delhi. And then at Victoria Falls, it's the Palm River Hotel, which is just upstream slightly from the falls themselves, but you still get some amazing views across the river and a wonderful kind of luxury experience. Touched on the all-important transfers, so wherever you arrive by train or aeroplane, or you're departing your hotel, private driver will be there waiting for you, assisting you with your luggage to get to the next stop in plenty of time. So, as mentioned, that is a 60-day bonanza starting Wednesday, the 2nd of September, 8 different trains. But of course, you don't have to take all of them, and you get a bit more choice in terms of departure dates if you just look at 1 or 2 of them. So, you can tailor your adventure. All of these departures or trips we're going to look at now can be completely tailor-made. So, you can add on nights at the beginning, at the end, full around the world itinerary. Of course, kind of stick to you have to go on those sort of 60 days because that's how the departure dates work together to make it the entire trip. But if you wish to take the Rocky Mountaineer, for example, then you're going to have an amazing experience. And you're going to have a choice of departures from June through to October. I think every year Rocky Mountaineer wins some awards for its gastronomic feasts on board, and it really is an amazing experience, particularly in Gold Leaf, where you're upstairs, elevated experience, kind of drinks and champagne throughout the journey. The landscape and things that you enjoy through the panoramic windows. I mean, the Canadian Rockies, the Swiss Alps, and you're going through the heart of them. This is the only way to see this sort of level of scenery is on board this train. Not sleeping on board, so there's no worry about sort of on-board sleeping accommodation. You do have a night in Kamloops, so it's overnight Vancouver at the start for the particular trip, overnight in Kamloops, which is part of that Rocky Mountaineer trip, and then travel all the way through to Banff in the heart of the Rocky Mountains, 2 nights there, where you get a journey up to Sulphur Mountain, the Banff Gondola, which is an amazing experience. Also a cruise on Lake Minnewanka, which again, it's sort of a breathtaking Rocky Mountain scene. It really is. With this trip as well, enjoying accommodations in the Fairmont hotels. Fairmont Springs, particularly, is a sight to behold. It really is. As mentioned before, if you wanted to have more nights in Vancouver at the beginning, or in Banff at the end, or perhaps stay in Calgary at the end, we have the capacity to fulfill that with these trips. The Royal Scotsman, as mentioned, in around the world, we have a grand suite. A grand suite, again, it's the highest level of onboard accommodation on any train in the world, I'd have to say. Private transfers to and from the stations, private dining options, champagne and caviar throughout the trip, let alone sort of elevated experiences, marble bathrooms, etc. Okay. But the train has various levels of accommodation. The grand suites, absolutely, but also the historic cabins, which come in twin setup or double. Life on board is relaxed. Perhaps the Royal Scotsman has the sort of the lowest number of people in terms of capacity. Very, very kind of communal atmosphere on board, all dining together, world-class cuisine, including Scottish specialities, of course. The day-by-day off-board experiences are incredibly exclusive, and you do kind of a few options as well. If you're not feeling up for it at all, there's, of course, the Dior Spa on board as well to book any treatments that you may like. This particular trip, which is the Western Scenic Wonders, again, why not include it with 3 nights in London at the start, heading up to Edinburgh for a couple of nights before, the 3 nights on board the Royal Scotsman, enjoying places such as the Isle of Bute, Glenfinnan Viaduct, the Bridge of Orkney as well. Then come back and have a couple of nights in Inverness as well before heading to Edinburgh for your final night. Again, it's not just talking about the amazing train experiences, it's the experiences that you can build on at the beginning or the end of the trip as well. Again, if you'd rather just start your trip in Edinburgh and forgo London, we can do that as well. It's completely customizable, those side of things. Okay. Next up, I said it's the new kid on the block. It's the Britannic Explorer. So, Britannic Explorer runs 3 different routes out of London. Okay, the one we have included in Around the World goes down to Cornwall, my home part of the world. That's where I grew up. But we've also got one trip going up to Wales as well, which is pretty spectacular, up into the mountains. Similar to the Royal Scotsman, it's got a small kind of capacity in terms of on board the trains. The accommodation here is a suite. As you said, it's got a small kind of separate seating area as well. They also have a dual spa on board, but it's modern, traditional elegance. It's a good blend of the modern and traditional styles. And no other luxury train has done this before, gone to these destinations. So Cornwall, it's an amazing kind of off-board experiences going down here, some wine tasting just with a view of St Michael's Mount. There is an art gallery tour going up to St Ives as well. And then a stop in Somerset on the way back at Belmont's very own sort of Bolt Hole with a Michelin-star restaurant and some dining experiences there also. Next, as said, perhaps the world's most famous train, the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express. Classic route, Paris, Venice, Venice, Paris. What can I say that hasn't been said about this train? Again, it really is the craftsmanship in terms of the cabins and the onboard decor, second to none. The onboard experience, the staff are world class. The gastronomic experience is second to none, or it isn't. The pianist in the bar doesn't stop playing until the last person leaves the bar. It's a real riot of fun on board. And two classic destinations at either end as well, Paris and Venice, of course. Here, we've included, of course, 3 nights in Venice at the beginning, heading up to Paris. You can end with 2 nights in Paris, as we've packaged it there with a great kind of city tour, etc. In Venice, enjoy a private tour of the St Mark's Basilica, the St Mark's Square, etc. Or why not include, of course, a trip from Paris up to London, have a couple of nights in London at the end. Or if you're interested in tagging Rome on at the beginning, we can do that. It's completely customizable based around the departures of the trains. The train runs from March nowadays until early December as well. So it's around about 4 or 5 departures each month. So plenty to choose from. And twice a year, it runs between Paris and Istanbul. So classic kind of harking back to Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express, this route. It really conjures up sort of the romanticism of luxury train, this particular route, I think. The journey itself is actually 3 nights spent on board the train and 2 nights in a hotel. So leaving Paris, overnight on the train through to Budapest, overnight in a hotel in Budapest, leave Budapest overnight on the train to Bucharest, overnight in Bucharest, and then overnight on the train to Istanbul. We've included 2 nights in Paris at the beginning and 3 nights in Istanbul at the end. Istanbul, perhaps the oldest sort of inhabited cities in the world, and the different layers of history in the city itself are breathtaking. They really are. So it's worth having a day or so to enjoy the city itself. Paris, the city of light, of course. It's always worth spending a day in Paris, I dare say. Next, one of my favorites is the Maharajas Express. So obviously India, fairly synonymous for train travel. This is the cream of the crop. It really is the best train. That's one of the best trains in the Southern Hemisphere. It's, as the name suggests, it's kind of royal luxury on board and exclusivity. The red carpet is rolled out at every single place the train stops. And together with the red carpet, you get the police protection, you get interest from the whole station, whoever's at the station as well. The food on board is actually some of those qualified famous chefs in India who kind of come on board and create the menu. It's a real great way of discovering true Indian cuisine. It's not too hot, of course. Majority is vegetarian, but there's meat options as well. All drinks, etc., included here as well. Ensuite facilities, and every day there's an off-board experience in somewhere spectacular. Of course, there's sort of Ranthambore National Park, spots of tigers, tour of Jaipur. You get to visit the Amber Fort. Varanasi, again, talking about old civilized cities. Varanasi, perhaps the oldest civilized city in the world. But also an amazing sort of sunrise tour visit to the Taj Mahal. The best way of seeing this, kind of one of the wonders of the world in my eyes. As the sun's coming up, you see how the colours change of the Taj Mahal from this kind of pink that the stone actually is to this bright shimmering white. Absolutely spectacular, it really is. The Maharajas Express, the train. So I think a lot of people do worry in terms of sort of tracks in India may be a bit bumpy, a bit old. The Maharajas Express has one of the most modern sort of suspension systems in the train, so it's one of the best night's sleep you'll ever have as well. Now, of course, we'll include kind of pre-nights and post in Delhi with a private tour. Essentially, anybody traveling with us to India will have their hand held by our esteemed partners in India as well. So they've always got something. Next, Rovos Rail. So again, I was lucky enough to take this train myself last year, and what an amazing experience it is. All built around one man's dream and one man's passion for train travel itself. It's such an amazing project, and it really is sort of great kind of mix between sort of absolute luxury, but still being part of a family as well. The itinerary we have included around the world is sort of Pretoria to Victoria Falls. The most popular route, Cape Town, Pretoria, Pretoria, Cape Town, 3 nights on board. Pretoria up to Victoria Falls and back down again. You've got 3 night options, and you've got 4 night options as well. Either way, they're amazing. The scenery is spectacular throughout. Amazing off-board experiences. Hwenge National Park, for example, I managed to see 4 of the top 5 on the safari drive there. Really is phenomenal. On board, some of the biggest cabins are on board any luxury trainers, I dare say. Amazing amounts of storage in terms of luggage as well. All en suite. There's a wonderful lounge car at the end of the carriage as well. As you said, there's a great sort of observational bit where you can hang around outside as well. Again, it's quite a kind of communal atmosphere. I think any sort of luxury train you'll be traveling on, you do meet some amazing people, amazing like-minded people, shared stories as well. That's part of the joy. Sit down and enjoy a drink with some new friends and stories. This particular route is the 3-nighter up to Victoria Falls as well. As mentioned, that Hwenge National Park drive is amazing. The Polokwane Ranch tour is amazing as well. Gives you a great kind of understanding of the history of the region here as well. Here we got just overnight in Pretoria, then enjoy the train journey up 3 nights in Victoria Falls. Do the private falls tour to see as many of the actual waterfalls as you can. Victoria Falls is one waterfall, it's a series of waterfalls. And the Zambezi evening cruise for a phenomenal experience with some wildlife again. And then we include the flight back to Johannesburg for a night before flying out as well. And then next out to Southeast Asia and the Eastern and Oriental Express, one of the most famous trains in the world. Again, it's round trip Singapore nowadays. It's not Bangkok, Singapore, Singapore, Bangkok, and they've got a couple of different itineraries. The best of Malaysia is, as the name suggests, the best one. Again, 3 nights on board. And here's the itinerary itself. As you can see, goes up to Penang, where you get, and then make a great train traveling across Penang by road. So the island, you cross over and have a tour there of the old kind of colonial town itself and the history there. You also visit the Taman Negara National Park as well for some really exclusive experiences. We include 2 nights in Singapore at the beginning, so you can acclimatise with Singapore and the atmosphere there, and then overnight at the end also. Now, part of the Around the World departure train this year, we've also done a collection of some maybe other combinations as well throughout the year, if you're able to make the September departure work. So in February, we've got an amazing trip called the Grand Rail and Safari Singapore to Venice by train, which includes the Eastern Oriental Express, Rovos Rail, and then up through Europe, ending in Venice as well. Or later on in April, it's London to Istanbul, the Royal Scotsman, the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express, and the Golden Eagle Danube Express, which also runs the Paris to Istanbul route. So slightly different off-board experiences here compared to the Belmont BSOE Paris to Istanbul. So the Golden Eagle gets champagne and an amazing champagne drinking experience, amazing concert in Vienna as well. Later, a few days later, we've got a 48-day itinerary. One is of Vietnam to Scotland by train. Now, this again, working together with our friends at Golden Eagle, taking advantage of one of their new routes, which is a 22-day itinerary, I think it is, through Vietnam into China, the Golden Eagle Silk Road Express, and then flying up to South Africa for, again, a journey on board the Rovos Rail, staying at that amazing train on the bridge in Kruger National Park, before heading up to Venice, taking the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express north, and then ending in Scotland for the Royal Scotsman. And then finally, we've got the great Venice to Istanbul, and then Istanbul straight down to Cape Town by a direct flight. It's great fun again, taking advantage of Rovos Rail's trip up to Victoria Falls, and also staying at Kruger National Park for a 29-day trip in May. You'll be able to find out more information on all of those trips on our website, www.railbookers.com. And please do follow us on social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We're all there. That's where you get social-only special offers. First to know about new products. We've got some very exciting new destinations in the pipeline, which we'll be launching very soon. Early access to deals, contests, and giveaways, insider travel inspiration, and exclusive events as well. Well, I hope that's whetted the appetite a little bit. Thank you very much all for your attention on that. That's the Railbookers team. Thanks very much and have a good day. Bye-bye.